Hi Sophia, it's Fancy, and I do think it's working better. These um, points of emphasis that you're setting up with the center hub is looking less like a figure on a ground. So these shapes were really strong figures on a ground last time, and they're working now. What you have right now is kind of a strong pattern orientation. They're both the same size, and one is slightly offset to the left, one is slightly offset to the right. Um, so if it's rather bisymmetrical or a kind of a mirror image of each other. So what you want to do is shoot for asymmetry, and you could, extend this area, move this. Oops, sorry. Move this entire point of emphasis in another location where you see more of it. You could add another one. So when we're working with points of emphasis, we want to think odd numbers. You could, shift one to the left and move one up to the right and add an additional one. Because I think this is really quite beautiful what you've done here. You have, this interesting shape that's a hub, but there's low enough contrast where it doesn't become a figure on a ground. It's gradating away from itself on at least two sides, and it's okay to have this high contrast pathway forming one of its sides. So this is really quite a beautiful gradation. And so you're kind of gradating horizontally, while in the pathways it's kind of gradating diagonally. So that's working out really well, I think. But you need to get one more in there probably, and you need to go from kind of symmetrical mirror image pattern orientation to asymmetrical. You can do that a number of different ways. So you're wanting to add another one of these in there. Um, As far as the leftover spaces, so we have all the space left over here that's not um, working with this necessarily. It's not unifying. The pathways do that you have moving in between them, but this other area is just not well formed. Um, so before we get to that, let's look over your pathways. So there's some nice gradation happening here. It goes from dark to dark middle gray, back to dark again, back to dark middle gray. Um, and it's a more subtle gradation. This one is not gradating in the same way. It goes from light to light middle gray or middle gray back to light again. But see where within the module you have values next to each other that are not high in contrast at all. Look how high these contrasting adjacent areas of value are. So you don't get the same nice smooth effect here that you have here in these lighter pathways. So you need to adjust that. The same for this. There's really not much gradation happening in here. So what I think you should do is work on um, adding at least one more point of emphasis and make sure that they're asymmetrically balanced. Balanced is the key word, but asymmetrically balanced. And then see how you're going to build the pathways that go in between them. So once you get your points of emphasis like you like it, because that point of emphasis will take up a lot of space wherever you put it. Um, Once you get that third point of emphasis in there and everything resituated, then you want to work on these visual pathways that run between them, making them nicely and smoothly gradating. And then most likely you will have some leftover places. And what those really become are probably additional points of emphasis where we only see a very small portion. So we might, so in our mind's eye, we know that off here in the picture plane that they are the same as this. So you want to make sure that every area in your design, it has a job to do and that you're not just filling in leftover gaps. Hope that helps. Let me know.